Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the conference finals, and we managed to find ourselves in the Stanley Cup Finals, just like my Islanders team, which is great to see. Hopefully we get a better outcome at least with this finals, but you could see that the Seattle Kraken weren't actually as much of a threat as we thought. We thought they were going to be probably one of our tougher teams to go up against because they had Bjorkstrand. Well, game number one, we won 4-3, so another kind of close game like we've been having as of late. Then we lost 4-1, so at that point, still not really too sure what to make of this. But then we take two games on the road, which is absolutely huge, 3-2 and 6-3. And then we closed it out with a 3-1 victory back on home ice. So some good effort on the road really helped us out in that series quite a bit. And now we're going to be taking on the Philadelphia Flyers for the Stanley Cup. And now they're kind of an interesting team because they didn't have the most insane record during the regular season of 45-27-10. They don't really have the best roster on paper, but they do have some really interesting players. I will show you right now. Let's just go to their player stats because it's an easier way to show you guys who's been doing what for them. But it's a very unique team. They're led by this 82 overall guy, Ladislav Nedorost, in terms of offense. He's got 20 points in 19 games. Aside from that, you do have a couple other guys picking up points, like McChesney with 15 points as an 83 overall, which is kind of insane. You have Dawes, who's an 83 overall as well. Actually, an 80 overall, never mind. And he's also been very good. Tuomainen's been decent. Keg Rodaw's been decent. Like, they have pretty good depth scoring for not really having a superstar player on that roster, which is kind of insane. But the one player that's been the most insane is their goaltender in Nathaniel Ferraro, who's been absolutely lights out in this playoffs with a .939 save percentage through 19 games. I was looking at his game-by-game stats, and it seems like he's been relatively consistent. He's had some trouble as of late, so we'll get to that in a second. Let's just scroll all the way to his beginning of the playoffs so you guys can kind of see what he's been up to. But this guy made a shutout in his first game of the postseason this year against Carolina. Game number 2 of that series, he made 56 of 59 saves, so he faced a ton of shots. So it seems like Philadelphia is the type of team to give up a lot of shots, but not a lot of goals, which is interesting. And then he continued on with a nice victory, it looks like, as well, where he made 28 out of 30. He made 30 out of 33. Like, for the most part, he doesn't seem to do anything below a .930 save percentage until you get to this point where he had a .902 against Florida and a .909. Still good enough efforts to get wins, of course, I think. He had a couple .950 save percentages as well, and .947 save percentage. Like, it doesn't drop off much. And then he made 49 of 50 against the Caps in Game 1, too, of that conference finals. So he's just been really good in every single game. Game 2, he had a .972. Then he drops down to a .900, so there's one of his more average type of games. This was one of his worst games as an .889. So definitely there is chances we could beat him as well. There was one game where he played only 21 minutes, so I'm guessing he was maybe injured or something like that and missed the rest of the game. This was his worst game of the playoffs, though, for sure. Game 6, he allowed 3 goals on 4 shots, so he was very bad, and that was only in a 4-minute span against the Caps, so that was definitely his worst outcome. But aside from that, he's usually posts really good numbers. Like the game afterwards, he responded with a .977, so we got to be very wary about this goaltender, and hopefully we can find ways to score goals on him, because if we don't, that's when we're likely going to end up losing in this Cup Finals. So hopefully we find ways to score goals on him, and hopefully we could find a way to get good defensive play in front of our defense and our goaltending as well, because Gionta has been really solid for us so far with a .919. He was injured a little bit in the last round, but he has been pretty decent for the most part. So I'm hoping that he could kind of take Ferraro to school, considering Gionta's been a good Vezina winner. He's won some also some Jennings and stuff like that in his career, so hopefully Gionta could take him to school and Ferraro's numbers drop off a cliff as well. But anyways, before we get into this Stanley Cup Finals, let's see what your guys' comments are, and then we'll get into probably the Cup Finals right after that. We might make some line adjustments if we lose Game 1, because I do have some options in mind to maybe make us simulate a little bit better defensively. So the first comment's from Garage TV, who says, "Let's go Aliens," and yes sir, let's go Aliens. Hopefully we could get that second Stanley Cup, because that would be a nice way, especially if Staubitz, Ristolainen, and Arena all decide to retire this year. They'll get at least another Stanley Cup under their belt if we do decide to win this. So hopefully that's something that ends up happening, and hopefully those guys still don't really retire, but if they do retire, we'll take a lot of money off of our cap space, which is good, and we'll have a lot of money to re-sign guys like Cashman probably again for another season or two. The next comment is from Michael Dos, who says Stanley Cup seasons for both Islanders and Aliens. Let's hope Aliens get the cup though. And yeah, hopefully it's a lot better of an outcome than the Islanders one, because the Islanders one went all the way to Game 7. It was back and forth, a lot of one-goal games. So I'm hoping that we kind of have a little bit of an easier time with this, and it's not one of those series that goes 7 games. I hope it kind of goes for like 4 or 5 or something like that, and we easily find a way to win a Stanley Cup. But if it goes to Game 7 and we blow them out in Game 7 or something like that, I'll definitely take that as well. The next comment is from Andy, who says, let's go Aliens. Finnish legend Ristolainen will bring another cup to Albuquerque. And yeah, Risto has been definitely a really good Finnish legend. I would look at his career stats, but if he does retire in this episode, obviously I'll take a look at it then. But yeah, he's been a really good player for us in this postseason. As you can see, he is top 10 in playoff points with 16 points through 16 games. He has missed, I don't know, he didn't miss any time during the playoffs. I think he did miss some during the regular season, but it's good to see him healthy and picking up a lot of points. A lot of our old guys are still doing really well in this playoff run, because Stowitz is leading the team with 19 points in 16 games. Dunham is second with 17 as the younger guy. And then Kohlers is also up there with 17 points. So that top line continues to do really good work even late into their careers, which is awesome to see. I feel like almost all, guaranteed all 3 of those guys are almost Channel Hall of Famers. Like Kohlers is one of the ones that's kind of like really underrated, and then Ristolainen and Stowitz usually are always running the show for our team. So who knows, maybe if we do a Channel Hall of Fame induction from the series, I would probably induct all 3 of those guys, and maybe even Norena too. And the last and final comment is from Sound Otaku, says the team did exactly what was needed to do this round. Hopefully the next round goes better than it did for the Islanders. You should consider taking Comrie out of the lineup, because he's been a major defensive liability. And now that's where I've come into potential line adjustments, not necessarily for Game 1, because I think for Game 1 we'll keep the team the same. But if we have a bad game from Comrie, there is a chance I have an option for us to make in terms of adjusting our forward group. Now, Comrie being an 81 overall on that third line, he has been probably one of the worst playoff players I've ever seen in terms of plus minus. You can see he's minus 11 in 16 games, despite our team winning as much as it has. So during the regular season, he's not been a bad plus minus guy, but for some reason during his playoff run, he's been very bad. I was actually looking at his game by game stats as well, and you can see almost that he has no games where he's been a plus player this postseason. He's always been a minus player or even 0, which is pretty insane. So he has not been a huge impact for our team offensively, and he's usually a negative player on this roster. So if we do take him out of the lineup, what I'm planning on doing is probably moving Robertson up to the third line as that third line center, because he can't take faceoffs. So we move him to play between Kopitz and Doig, and then likely Stillman would move over to the right wing, and we would throw in as a center Jurgen Hansen, who's been better defensively through his few games he's played in the NHL. So I think that's probably what will end up happening if Comrie has a bad first game of this playoff run in the Stanley Cup Finals. Also depends if we lose it or not, because if we lose it, maybe I don't make the adjustment. But if we do lose it and Comrie's like a -3, you know that he should probably be out of the lineup. So for right now, I'll keep him in for Game 1, but if he plays bad, he probably will come out of the lineup. Now, he has had some points that have been really important in our playoff run so far. Like, I believe, yeah, he has a game-winning goal in this playoff run, so he has been decent at times, but at the same time, I do not like that plus-minus stat whatsoever. He's also been a little bit more aggressive than I was expecting, so maybe he's being a little bit too indisciplined as well. So we'll see what we end up doing with him. But we could also technically move, I guess, Kopitz over to that third line center spot if we really wanted to. We have a lot of flexibility because there's a lot of guys that could kind of play that face-off type of role for that third line. So we'll see what we end up doing. But for right now, obviously, we won't make those adjustments. So anyways, with that said, I think we're ready to get into this Cup Finals. Once again, I'll show you guys quickly the Flyers lines just in case you forgot. Obviously, we just looked at their player stats, but based on how they're set up, it's kind of an interesting team. Like I said, they didn't have the best regular season, but they do have like solid depth, but they aren't really the most flashiest group. Like the best player on their forward group is an 87 in Kei Gorodov. Like that top line's not bad. It's kind of almost better suited maybe as a second line, but it is still pretty good. They do have some okay depth. Maybe not on the left wing side of things because it drops off considerably down here, but I would say it's still not bad. And then from a defensive standpoint, you can see they have Andronov, and the rest of the defensive core, despite their goaltender posting really good numbers, is all relatively weak. So that's where I'm a little bit scared that we could get cheesed. And then the goaltending, obviously, Ferraro and Erskine, they could go to either one of these two guys. Ferraro's been so good so far for them. Meanwhile, Erskine has not been good really at all this postseason. He's only played 2 games, and he's got an .886. So if we do have to run into him, he would be an easier one to score on. Meanwhile, Ferraro, like I said, he's been really good during the regular season and the playoffs in his career up to this point, because through 125 games, the guy's got a .913 save percentage in the regular season, and through 20 playoff games, he's got a .940. So he's been really, really solid for the teams he's played for. And yeah, hopefully he's not a thorn in our side. Hopefully we just find that offense and blow him up completely. Because there definitely has to be a team that could blow him up offensively, you'd think, right? And hopefully that team is us, because we were the best offensive team in the regular season. So maybe there's a chance that we could score some goals on him. But anyways, let's get to game number 1. On home ice, we have home ice advantage for the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's see if we could get off to a good start here. And like I said, Comrie is on short notice that he might be able to line up for next game. Depends on how he plays in this one. So we'll see if he comes out firing or not. First period, game number 1. 2-1 Flyers. Not a great start for Gionta. We are out shooting him 14-8, so Ferraro's kind of already making a bit of an impact, which is not great. But 2-0 minus scores early. Doig ties it up for us. Like scores a shorthanded goal. So far we need Gionta to play a little bit stronger than that, because if we get them scoring goals too, and then Ferraro just does what he's been doing so far, we'll be in a really bad spot. So we need to have a better defensive second period. We can't allow them to score more goals, and we need to find a way to tie this one up. It's going to be tough because Ferraro stops a lot of pucks. Can we find a way to tie this one up in the second period? Second period? 5-4 Flyers. Jeez, okay, we're finding ways to score on Ferraro, which is good, but they're also finding ways to score on Gionta, which is not good. So if I remove my face for a sec so you guys can see all the goals, Erskine made it 3-1. Delisle made it 3-2. McChesney scores a power play goal to make it 4-2. Norena made it 4-3. Rourke makes it 5-3. And then Doig makes it 5-4. So it's been a really crazy game so far at this point in time. We're out shooting them 29-16, yet we're down by a goal somehow, and we've allowed 5 goals on 16 shots. So I don't know if I should go to Malkin for the next game or what, but Gionta's definitely having a tough time. If he's bad next game as well, maybe I will go to Malkin, but right now we're allowing too many goals on too little of shots. I don't know if I would put that on our defense then. I would maybe put this more on our goaltending, but we definitely need to find a way to keep the puck out of net in the third period. It's been good that we've been able to score on Ferraro, but we can't be conceding goals either. Let's see what happens in the third period, see if we could find a way to tie this one up, because we have not had the lead yet at this point. Come on, boys. Third period underway in this crazy offensive game. Kolars ties it up at 5. Let's go, and Delisle gives us the lead. Let's go. Okay. I like the way we're scoring goals on Ferraro, though. That's exactly what I was kind of hoping for, because Ferraro's been so good up to this point, but he's allowed 6 goals. He is facing a ton of shots, though, too, so can't blame the guy for giving up goals against us. Final few minutes, can we hold them off? Yes, we can. 6-5 in Game 1, so quite an offensive explosion in Game 1. A better third period as well from Gionta. He allowed 5 goals on 33 shots, so at least he kind of simmered down a little bit after a rough start. Maybe it was Malkin that was in at the rest of the game. I'm not too sure, but we do end up winning 6-5 and taking one of our home games. Now, the question is, how good was Comrie in that game? He does pick up assist on the first goal from Doig and Kopitz. Or for Doig's goal, I should say, from him and Kopitz. Then we had Delisle from Cashman and Norena. Norena from Delisle and Ristolainen. Doig from Cashman and Kopitz. Kolars from Ristolainen and Staubitz. And Delisle from Cashman and Dunham. Alright, so it seems like the second line did really a lot of work in that game, which is good because I think they were quiet last round, if I remember right. So good to see them on the board a couple times. 3 points from Delisle and Cashman. Then we had 2 points from Norena, Doig and Kopitz. And also Ristolainen too, and don't want to forget about him. A couple guys on 1 point. Comrie was an even 0 in that game and did have an assist, so that's a better impact than his negative games, obviously. So I probably will keep him in for next game. If he ends up being a minus at some point, maybe we take him out then, but that's not a bad game from him. He's not winning a lot of faceoffs either, so he's not the most useful player, but he did pick up an assist, which is nice to see. And yeah, Gionta was pretty damn rough in that game, but he had a better third period. 848 save percentage is very rough for him, but he got the win, and that's all that really matters at the end of it. But if we go to the Flyers, let's see, an 850 from Ferraro. So maybe we know his weakness, and maybe we're going to make his numbers go down from a 940 down to like a 910 or something like that. But that's a good first game. 3 stars of the game, Delisle, Doig, and Cashman. Nicely done, guys. We don't always have to rely on the top line, which is nice with this team, because if we could get that depth scoring, then we could definitely beat a lot of teams. So we are up 1-0 in the Cup Finals. Good first game. Obviously, it wasn't the best effort in the world at times. Like, we were down after the first period. We were down after the second period. But we found a way to win. And that's all that matters at the end of it, considering we're in the Cup Finals. So let's keep the team the exact same for game number 2. We might need to make some defensive adjustments if we end up allowing a lot of goals in this game too. But for right now, I'm okay with the way we've been simulating. So, can we take a 2-0 series lead? Can we win both games on home ice? Because obviously next game we're going to be heading to Philadelphia. So, first period, game number 2 with the exact same lineup as last game. Let's see what happens. 1-1. Okay, not bad. Kagarodov opens the scoring for them again, and literally exactly 3 minutes later, Narena scores again. So Narena's been having a good Cup final so far at this point, which is nice to see, considering this could be his last hurrah here too. Shots are in our favor, 17-7. So Ferraro maybe is gonna have a bit of a rebound game for the Flyers, which is not great. Hopefully we can find ways to score more goals on him, because obviously if he starts playing good again like he was playing for the first 3 rounds of this playoff run, then yeah, he's going to not allow a lot more goals going forward. So, because he usually has only one of those bad games every now and again. Like, that was his second bad game, I think, or third bad game in the playoffs. And they've all been actually kind of as of recent, so maybe that's a good thing for us. But it's a 1-1 game after 1. Can we find a way to get that lead? Because we've only had that lead in the last game pretty much at the end of it. Can we find a way to get a lead going into the third potentially? Second period? Still 1-1. Okay, I'll take it. A defensive game is not a bad option to have. It does kind of play into the Flyers' hands a little bit, though, because Ferraro's been so good up to this point. So that's not great. Shots are 27-12, yet we're tied still at 1. So yeah, definitely Ferraro's playing a lot stronger than he was last game for them, which makes sense because that's the type of goaltender that he is. So we need to be a little bit worried that he's stopping a lot of shots. We need to find ways to get bodies in front of him and screen the guy, not allow him to see anything, and hopefully we can find maybe a garbage goal in front of the net. I'll take anything. Let's see what happens. Third period, game 2 underway. See if we can get that lead. Penalty kill and power play goal for Kagarodov, and they score another one right afterwards, but we score right after that, and then they score right after that to take a 2-goal lead again. Not a good third period from Gionta. Now there's 4 goals in the third period. Hunwick makes it 5-3. What is even happening in this third period? God damn. Do we have any goals in us to get within 1? Like makes it 6-3 as Malkin's now in net. Now it's 6-4. What is happening in this third period? Okay. Well, it looks like we're going to lose, and we had a really bad defensive third period. And, yep, that is the case. We outshot them 39-27. And it was an offensive explosion in the third period. So the first 2 games of the series have been pretty damn bad in terms of goaltending and defensive play. Because we were literally tied at 1 and somehow end up at 6-4 as we allow a total of 5 goals in that third period. We score 3 of our own. Yeah, Gionta might not be starting next game. There's a realistic chance on that because he's been really bad to start this Cup Finals. But at least the offense is doing good, but still, that's not great. That is not a great game. Narena from Stillman, and then we didn't have any goals in that second period. And in that third period, the floodgates opened. Cashman scored from Delisle and Dunham. Hunwick scored from Stillman and Robertson. And Hunwick scored from Kohlers and Staubitz. But yeah, they scored literally 2 goals in a row consecutively. That really hurt things. And then that goal from Like as well was a big one for the Flyers. But we got to get better results than that. Everybody on this team is either a +2 or -2, which is kind of funny. Comrie was a -2 in that game, which means he's going to be out of the lineup for next game, unfortunately. And both goaltenders did not really do too well. Malkin allowed 1 goal on 7 shots, which is not very good. Gionta allowed 5 goals on 20 shots. So I think maybe Gionta's still not fully healthy, even though he is technically healthy. But that's a rough game for him. Hunwick was third star in that loss, so good stuff from Hunwick, but that's not a good way to let them tie the series up. We need to find a way to win in Philadelphia if we want to have a chance. Because obviously if we lose 2 games in a row, that's going to be really bad. So I'm going to go edit the lines here. And we are going to take Comrie out of the lineup just because he was a -2 in that last game. So I think we'll make the adjustments that I was mentioning. So we'll probably go Robertson as the third line center. Stillman goes over to the right wing. Comrie comes completely out of the lineup. and we'll get a better defensive player in there in Hansen, and maybe that will just make us assimilate better defensively. And then Comrie can kind of learn a little bit what he's thinking about. So minus 13 in 18 games, pretty damn dreadful. Really hope that he could find himself if he gets put back in lineup a bit. But Hansen's going to help us play better defensively, I think, down there on that fourth line. Robertson as a third line center is not a bad one either, considering even though he's a grinder, he's been a very solid defensive forward too. So we'll see if he does good there. But that's two grinders on the same line, so it's a little bit grindy. But maybe he could help us out a bit. I think we're also going to make some defensive adjustments, though, because we've allowed a lot of goals in the last two games. So I'm going to go to Hutton and Bell. We're going to go to Hunwick and Tulipov and keep this top six pairing the exact same. Goaltending-wise, Gionta's been pretty bad as of late, so I'm going to go to Malkin as a starter for Game 3. Maybe get Gionta to kind of get back into business again, because he's been really bad to start the Cup Finals. Yeah, youth. An 848 and a 750 after he had a 963 to close at the Kraken last round. So we will give him a little bit of time off. He's allowed 5 goals in back-to-back games. We'll see if he ends up feeling better for maybe Game 4, but it depends on how Malkin plays, because if Malkin's really good, maybe we just run Malkin for a little bit, and then maybe Gionta comes back in if Malkin plays bad, but we need to play better defensively in front of our goaltender. We need our goaltenders to make more saves. Our offense has been fine for the most part in terms of scoring goals, but it needs to be better defensively as well. Alright, so we have a tie series at 1, which is not a bad scenario to be in, but obviously we need to find ways to win on the road here too. So let's get to game number 3 in Philadelphia and see if we could have a solid defensive effort for a change. Like, we played good defensively for the first 2 periods last game, but then that third period was absolutely dreadful. So first period, game 3. And it's 3-2 Flyers after the first period. I saw that we scored 1 goal early, and I was excited, because obviously we don't score first all the time. Hummuck made it 2-0, but they get 3 unanswered goals. Rourke, Riddle, and McChesney. This has been a very bad defensive series. I don't really know if it's the goaltending now. If Malkin's going to play bad like this too, it's probably the defensive play. Like, we were the best defensive team in the regular season, but it's kind of falling apart here at the worst time possible, which is not great. Shots are in the Flyers' favor, 15-10. It is a 1-goal game. At least we did open the scoring, but we are now trailing, so we need to play better defensively in the next period, or else this game could get away from us. Second period. Still 3-2 Flyers. God damn, and they only had 4 shots in that period, so we did have a better second period in terms of chances, but it's only a 1-goal difference still. Yikes, oh boy. I mean, the third period is where the floodgates opened last game, so who knows, maybe it'll be the same this game, but right now I'm not too sure on our goaltending and our defensive play. Like, I don't know if there's any crazy adjustments I can make to make it simulate better. Like, do we call up Mathers and see if he's a better goaltender or something like that? Probably not. But let's see what happens in the third period, see if we could find a way to tie this one up, because we're still within 1. There's still a chance we could win this. Let's see what happens. Third period underway. And we tied up immediately. Stubwitz scores, but Angelides gives the Flyers back the lead. Penalty kill. Long penalty kill. Stop taking penalties, boys, in the third period. And they get another goal right afterwards. Dawes makes it 5-3, but Stubwitz pulls us back within 1 again. These third periods are absolutely bonkers. Power play for us. Can we tie it? Can we tie it? Come on, it's a long power play, boys. And we do not score on it. Final few minutes, still down by a goal. Power play late for us. We do not score, and we lose 5-4 in Game 3. That's a bit of a heartbreaker, because that looked like we could have tied that up at some points. And unfortunately, despite outshooting them 38-29, we are going to end up losing this one. So the Flyers are finding their offensive game. They've scored 5+ goals in each of the games so far, which is not a great sign. We've also been scoring a lot of goals, but we've been giving up way too much. So Kopitz from Doig and Bell, Hunwick from Stubwitz and Kolars, and then obviously Stubwitz had some third period goals from Kolars and Ristolainen and from Ristolainen and Tulipov, but we need to be much better defensively, so I might have to make some more adjustments to our team. We had some guys that were +3 in that game, but also some -2s, which is not a great sign. And then, yeah, Malkin was terrible in that game as well, just like Gionta, an .828 save percentage, so both goaltenders are not doing their job, which is not a great thing. Gionta will probably come in for next game, but I am almost contemplating calling up Mathers at this stage and giving him a game, because maybe Mathers could be more of a cheese goaltender and get us a win or something like that. I don't really know, but seems like no goaltender's working out with his team right now. Stubwitz got first star in that loss, but damn, man. This is not a good time to play bad defensively, as Malak apparently has been injured. Yep, he's been out with a pulled groin. And he will be out till June the 11th, so that's a pretty big loss for that fourth line, I guess, but that will give a chance to probably somebody else in the lineup to get a chance on that fourth line. I don't want to put Comrie in that spot. I know it's going to put him there, which it did. I probably prefer to put somebody like, maybe Peterson. Peterson hasn't played all season, I feel like. Let's give Peterson an opportunity in that spot. Sure. Just because I don't really trust Comrie at all. Aside from that, we do need to rework some things and make us simulate better defensively and stuff like that. I'm not too sure what I want to do, though. Let's see. What can we do here? We could go something like this. Delisle has been good at times, but if I put Delisle on the third line, maybe he could get that third line simulating a little bit better. Let's go Hansen up here. Go back to that. Defensively, let's go with Tulipov and Bell together. Hunwick and Hutton did double H's. Maybe I should split up this top six pairing. They've actually been pretty good defensively for the most part. I could go Venarina back on that top pairing, potentially, but that will make us probably worse defensively, my guess. And in goaltending, like I said, both goalies have been really bad in this Cup Finals. So, honestly, we'll go back to Giunta, but if both these goalies aren't simulating good, I feel like we should maybe call it Mathers, because I don't think the AHL team is even in the playoffs anymore. And Mathers is actually currently scratched in the AHL, because he just got scratched, but Mathers might not be a bad option to call up here. I mean, through his career, he's been actually a pretty good depth/backup goaltender. He has played some NHL playoff experience before, was actually pretty bad a few years ago. So I don't really know if he would be much better than our current goaltenders, but I could call him up, hypothetically. Because with Malak being out for the rest of the season, we have an open roster spot. You know what? I'm going to call up Mathers. I know it's kind of a weird thing to do, but we're at a part where we need a goaltender to win games, and we do have the open roster space, so we're going to call up Mathers as that option. And I think I'm going to give him next game already instead of giving him a crucial game. Give him a game where he could potentially tie the series up for us. So let's see if that works. We'll probably scratch... Malkin. I was thinking about scratching Giunta because he's had 2 bad games, but Giunta also, he's also kind of like the man on this team. Malkin might eventually be the man on this team, but still, let's give Reed Mathers a start. I know this is probably the most weird thing to do in this situation, but if he could find a way to tie the series up for us, maybe that gives our team a little bit more confidence defensively, because so far, none of those goalies have worked. We've been really bad defensively. I've made some defensive adjustments. It hasn't helped things, so I don't really know if it's the defensive core or if it's the goaltender. So having Mathers in it, I think, maybe could make the team look more like a cheese team and give us a higher chance to win games. And maybe Mathers could be actually really good. So we'll start him for next game, and Giunta will probably come back for the next game. We'll get Malkin back into the game afterwards as well as backup, just because Mathers is only up here as just kind of an option to go to if he could get us back into these games or not. Alright, so Mathers hasn't played an NHL game in a few years, but he is going to start a playoff game for us in the Stanley Cup Finals nonetheless. Is he going to be like the Aiden Tays of my Anchorage Ice Tigers series years ago and help us get back into the series? Let's see what happens. Game 4. In Philadelphia. If we win this game, we're back to tie it up, which is great. If we lose this, we need to win 3 straight games, which is going to be quite tough. So, back on the road again. Let's see if Mathers could at least give us a good goaltending performance here. First period, game number 4. Scoreless. I mean, that's a better first period than we've had in the past, so that's good. Shots are pretty low in this game, which is kind of concerning. It's one goalie's going to have a bad save percentage probably just because of the low shot totals, but maybe a lot of shots are still to come. Shots are only 7-6. I was expecting a lot more shots than that, but I'll take it. I don't like that we haven't scored a goal in the first period, but I like that we at least didn't allow goals in that first period. It seems like usually we allow a lot of goals in the third period, so that will be the telling thing if Mathers is going to be a good goalie for us up here in the NHL or not. But second period, can we find a way to grab that lead? This is a crucial period for the series. Second period, 2-0 Flyers. Oh boy. We just have no answer to their offense really right now. Or our goaltenders have no answer to their players. I don't even know what it is exactly. But 2 goals in a span of 8 seconds. That's not even possible almost. Well, it is possible, I guess. But it's still pretty damn hard to do. Erskine scores and Rourke scores. We're outshooting them 19-17. We're down by a pair of goals going into the third. We need a strong third period here, or else we're going to have to come back from a 3-1 deficit, which I think our team can honestly do. But we aren't finding that goaltending, so it's probably going to be pretty damn tough. So let's see what happens third period, see if we can get a goal early, and then maybe we can find a way to tie this one up. Let's see if we have a good third period for our team. Come on, boys, give me an early goal on our side, and then get us tied up, potentially. Or are we going to just get suffocated in this game, and their goaltender's actually going to find a good game for a change, because he's not been good either. Oh my goodness, come on, boys. Where's the offense they've been having? Because we've been scoring goals, just not winning games. And unfortunately, we are going to find ourselves on the brink of elimination in the Cup Finals, which is definitely really tough considering we might lose a bunch of guys to retirement. So that's not good. We need to win 3 straight games. We get shut out in this game, so our offense was nowhere. It was definitely a better goaltending effort in this game, I'd say, for Mathers, but it did not work out well for us because our offense didn't do anything. Mathers posted a .923 in that game, so he was solid. But you can see there is just some bad results again. -2 from the top 6 pairing again. Seems like they're getting shredded a little bit. Hansen hasn't worked out well. I think we might honestly have to go best lines and see if that helps our team or not. I think that's probably the best option. But 3 straight losses, and we've allowed like so many goals in this Cup Finals. We allowed 5 in the first game. We allowed 6 in the second game, 5 in the third game, 3 in the next game. Like, there's just been no consistency. No consistency. So it kind of sucks that we're falling apart in the Cup Finals. Kind of like my Islanders team kind of fell apart out of nowhere. Like they were playing so good and then they fell apart. So let's go best lines and see what it does for our lineup. Who does it scratch? Narena. I do not want to scratch Narena considering this could be his last NHL game. I am not going to do that. Not a question. I mean, I would be okay with putting Segal in the lineup maybe, but I don't want to do that. I am not scratching the guy that could end up retiring and has been a great defenseman for this team at times. So let's try and swap this around. Try and get rid of that -3 if I can. That's the exact same pairings we've been having, though, defensively, which I don't know if I like. Let's go to Narena actually on the top pairing because we haven't done that all playoffs so far. So we're going to try that out. Narena on the top pairing with Bell. It's the original line. It's pretty much Hunwick and Hutton. Tulipov and Peterman can play together. And then from a goaltending perspective, Gionta will be back in net. And maybe he can win us 3 straight games. Maybe he can. But it's going to be really tough. Aside from that, it moves Ristolainen down to second line center, which I don't really like. But maybe for the last game of their careers, we need to split up Ristolainen and Staubitz. Yeah, we'll try that. Hansen playing North Robertson and Stillman on that fourth line. Who else is scratched? Nobody else important. Okay. Yeah, we'll run with this. We'll run with this and see if it works. But we need to win 3 straight games. If we win this game, maybe we put Risto back to that top line again. Or maybe we just keep it the same. But we'll see if best lines can save our season. Because right now this Cup Finals has been pretty bad after the Conference Finals was really good. So, oh boy. It sucks that we have to win 3 straight games. But the Flyers have been really good. They've been scoring goals, which is something that they weren't really doing all season long. They were more of a defensive team. And their goaltender is starting to find his game a little bit after that shutout. So I don't really like that. Hopefully we find ways to score goals on him again in this game. But hopefully we find ways to not give up goals of our own. So here we go. All-important Game 5 might be the last NHL game for a lot of guys' careers, so we might have to jump in regardless, so we can get screenshots of guys like Staubitz and all that for one last time. But can we find a way to force a Game 6 back in Philadelphia? Just take this one game at a time, boys. Don't think about that you're going to potentially lose the Cup. Just think about this game and winning it. So let's see what happens. Real-time simulation. To fight off elimination and force another game. Hansen opens the score in 52 seconds in. That's not a bad start to the game, but they answer back as they always seem to do. And they get the lead as well, Dawes and McCauley. And they get another goal. Oh my goodness, Gionta's been so bad in this Cup Finals. He's literally going to win the Vezina this year and the Jennings, but lose potentially in the Cup Finals. Tulipov pulls us within 1. This is another offensive start, so we're kind of going back to game number 1 stats. Selbitz ties it up late in the first period, and it's 3-3 after 1. We were down 3-1, so I do like that we responded, but I do not like the amount of goals we've been giving up every single game. Good to see at least we're scoring goals this game compared to last game. Let's see what happens in the second period, because this is crucial for this Cup Finals potentially. If we find a way to get the lead and get the win here, we got to find a way to win in Philadelphia as well potentially. So Philadelphia gets that lead back. It's 4-3. McCauley scores again. They always have an answer to our goals. We have an answer to their goals though too occasionally. Stelbitz scores again to make it 4-4. Stelbitz is doing everything he can for this team in this Cup Finals. He did that in the Conference Finals as well. I do not blame the guy. It's a 4-4 game going into the third with the shots 24-18. So it's anybody's game going into the third. We've had some really rough third periods so far in this playoff run so far. So here's maybe a game that we can make up for it. Let's find a way to win this period, and then we'll go to a game 6 if we could do that. So let's see what happens. See if we could get that lead, because it's been back and forth so far in this game. Come on, boys. Stelbitz has been doing everything for us. We need to help him out. We can't just let him do all the work, because that will be really tough to see him score like 4+ goals. Kagerodov makes it 5-4 Flyers. That's not good. It's not a good time for a goal to give up. We are going to have to jump in here. It looks like we're on the penalty kill, but I'm going to jump in here, see if we can find a way to tie this one up. But this might be the last time we see these guys out there, so I want to definitely see them out there, even though if we lose the Stanley Cup. But man, this is not a great defensive effort. If Gionta was better in this Cup Finals, I think we'd definitely have a better chance, but he just can't find a way to stop pucks consistently, which is kind of weird. Like I said, he's a Vezina Trophy winning goaltender, but he, for some reason, just can't find a way in this Stanley Cup Finals. So let's see if we can find a way to tie this one up here. Force a game 6. There's still time on the clock. Let's just not allow them to get any momentum. Let's find a way to get a goal to tie it up, and anything can happen in overtime if we get there. Okay, we have an offensive zone faceoff. We are on the penalty kill still here. Robertson will take the draw. He wins it. He finds Bell. Bell finds Doig. Doig tries to throw a shot to the net. Doesn't work. So we're on the penalty kill for like a full minute and a little bit still of the final 4 minutes, which is not going to be great for us to get chances, as McCauley gets a chance and Gionta stops him. But yeah, that's not good for us, because that's going to take some time off the clock, which means we will not have a lot of chances to actually tie the game up, unless we could get maybe a shorthanded goal or something like that. But Stelbitz is tied for the league lead in playoff points at his age, which is insane. But this team is just not able to find a way to keep this game tied and stuff like that. Like, they always seem to have a response to us when we tie the game up. Neteros throws it across. Nice block by Petterman. Get it out of the zone, boys. Hansen finds Norena. He finds Stillman. We're looking for a short-handed goal, looks like, maybe. Nope, we're just going to dump it in. Smart play. I'll take it. But obviously, like I said, we might want to go for some short-handed chances at this stage. But also, we don't want to drop down by 2 goals. And Chesney walks in. Can't get into the net. Norena will get to the puck. He's a little bit slow because he's older now. He'll take it. He will clear it off the glass and out. Nicely done. Here is McChesney that almost looked offside. McChesney walks in, throws it over to Lenevu. Lenevu walks in, finds Neteros. Neteros to Dawes. Dawes to Lenevu. They just cycle it around. They might get full pressure soon if they get shots on goal. There's a chance. Big save by Gionta. He almost didn't catch that, though. Jaguar gets poke checked. Petterman will take it away. And he will get it off a body and out. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's a good way to get it out. Hansen will strip the puck away, but can't get into the zone. We kill off the penalty. Stelwitz is back out, so I guess it was Stelwitz that took that penalty. Now can we find a way to tie this game up at 5, potentially? Here's a chance for the Flyers. Kolar's now with it. Up to Cashman. Cashman, who's now on the top line this game. Walks in with it, throws it back to Kolar's. Matej Kolar's over to Stelwitz. He can't get a shot off. Come on, guys. We need to get some chances here. Stelwitz steals it back. Finds Cashman all alone. Turned away by their goaltender. Oh, my goodness. I don't know what Cashman was doing all alone like that, but play worked out, and he got a really good chance. They're taking out the Stanley Cup. Hopefully this is too early that they're taking this cup out, because there's still time to tie this game up. I don't know why this cutscene exists if it's a 1-goal game. Like, I feel like they should take it out in the final 10 seconds, not when there's still chances to tie the game up. Like, that might be premature for them to do that. But time on the clock still is 1:19. We almost have pressure if we could get some more chances on goal here. We need to find a way to tie this up here because we might be pulling the goalie soon too. Here is like for the Flyers. Not good. Don't let them get in, boys. Big save by Gionta. Hunwick with the puck. They almost actually have full pressure too, which is kind of scary. Hunwick carries it up. He finds Hutton. Are we going to pull the goalie soon? Hutton had a shot that just missed as it bounced off a body. Knight will take it up, get it away. Like is walking in with it, and he'll score. I don't know why the defense in this game does not know how to play in front of an empty net. Like, why are you allowing them to take even a shot on goal there? Well, that one's probably going to seal the deal with 40 seconds to go. Like, why does nobody ever try and block shots on an empty net in this game? Like, they need to kind of rewrite the logic with empty net stuff, I feel like, quite a bit in this game. Because if you're defending an empty net, you're going to do whatever you can. Especially in a game where you could lose the Stanley Cup. You're going to do a lot. You're going to run after this guy. You're going to throw big hits. You're going to just try and get it from not going into your zone or into your own net. And they don't do anything like that in this game. But our coach is not going to be happy after that. And our boys aren't going to be happy either. Like I said, this could be the last time we see a lot of these guys out there. Like, I think we're going to end up having retirements and losing in this Cup Finals, which is not great. But we're still within 2, but there's not a lot of time left to get even 1 goal. So I don't think we're going to come back in this, unfortunately. Just bad goaltending at the wrong time. And bad defensive play, potentially, too, at the wrong time. Risto finds Dunham, as we do pull our goalie again. Knight takes it away from Dunham. He can't get the puck. Dunham has also been kind of quiet in this Cup Finals, too, so we definitely needed some more guys to contribute a bit, I think. Ristolainen gets it to Bell. Drew Bell with it. Throws it over to Ristolainen. That's turned away. Loose puck in front, and they got it out somehow. After the goalie poke checked it, Tuomainen will find it and just dump it in. And unfortunately, we're going to go out on a Stanley Cup Finals loss, potentially to end Ristolainen's career, potentially in Staubitz's career and Narena's. And we lose on home ice as well, which is not a good place to lose on, but was a good run, but unfortunately we just could not find that defensive play that we were finding during the regular season in this Cup Finals. Damn, man, this sucks. I just want to see the guys go through the handshake line again, because it might be the last time we see them in a cutscene, but the Flyers find a way to win the Stanley Cup. That goaltender was insane in that playoff run. He had some bad games against us, but he was really good in the first 3 rounds. And they're going to give Dawes the Conn Smythe from their team with only 19 points. So, kind of a weird Conn Smythe winner. I would probably have given it to the goalie, but then again, he didn't play good in the Cup Finals. Stowitz had 3 points in that last game, despite the loss. Like, he did whatever he could to try and get the team to win, but the team just did not give him enough support, too. That's unfortunate, man. And Like had 4 points in that last game. Jeez, man. Well, let's get some screenshots of those guys in their last games of their careers, potentially. Ristolainen with only a few seconds left on the clock. Let me actually remove my face as well from this so I could basically get some good screenshots and you guys can see them in the Discord or wherever. Maybe I post them on socials. I honestly don't even know. But let's remove my face and let's get a screenshot of Risto there, because I feel like somebody's going to retire from those 3 guys. It could be literally all 3 of them. It could literally be one of them. We'll see what ends up happening. That's Delisle down there. Bell's fine for now. Back there's Hunwick. I need to go back more in time to see Staubitz on the ice and stuff like that. So let's go back a little bit. Yeah, Staubitz wasn't even out there for the last little bit, which is kind of concerning. We should have probably put him out there. But, I mean, Ristolainen did some good stuff too, obviously. So let's get Stowitz a screenshot of him if he's out there yet, which I don't know if he is. No, it looks like Risto was out there on the empty net goal. Who is here? Oh, there's Kolars. I mean, might as well get Kolars, even though he's not close to retirement yet. I think he's still a few years away. But let's get a good little screenshot of this guy. I like his beard, though. His beard's pretty cool. Let's see. Where is the other guys? So we just need Narena and we need Stowitz, because I need to get screenshots of every guy if possible. There you go. There. Let's get the Aliens logo in the background too, because he is the man. I don't know about having the ref in this photo really, but let's just go with that. Boom. Oh man, Stowitz, I hope you don't retire, my man. You're the GOAT. And I do not want to lose him to retirement, really. Okay, let's get Norena, because Norena's the last one I need. I could get screenshots of everybody else on the roster and stuff like that, but I'm only going to get the guys that are close to retirement right now. Just because it's probably the last time we see a lot of these guys. So here's Norena. We want him with his eyes open a little bit if possible. That ref's going to be like in every single photo almost. There we go. Okay, so we do get some screenshots of these guys. And unfortunately, they are not going to have 2 Stanley Cups likely in their career. But Stalwitz goes off with potentially 3 points in his last NHL game. Norena picked up an assist in potentially his last NHL game. And Risto did not have a point in his last game. But he almost had a point near the end, it looked like. He was good on faceoffs again, but the question is if they're going to retire or not. Obviously, let's take a look at the awards and stuff, wrap up the season, but disappointing end, just like the Islanders series, but this one, at least since we already have a cup in the series, I don't feel as bad about it, but it would have been still nice to send off our guys on a Stanley Cup win. Man, let's take a look at some of the stats here from our playoff run. Who did what for us, but unfortunately fall 3 wins shy of the Stanley Cup. So Stalwitz, absolutely insane. 27 points in 21 games as a 37-year-old. Can't ask much more of these kind of guys on our team. Did a lot of good work for us. So shout out to Stalwitz. Kolar's on 21 points was great. Risto on 20 points. Man, Dunham on 19. Delisle on 18. Yeah, we had some pretty good players in our top 6. It's just our bottom 6 kind of was bad at times. Also, that injury to Malak really didn't help a little bit. And then the fact that Comrie was so bad defensively didn't help either. From a defensive standpoint, Norena was really good. Not really surprised considering this is usually what he normally does. Good offensive stats. Tulipov on 11 points. Hunwick on 8. This might be the last time we see this defensive core intact. Is Norena potentially retiring? Bell obviously will need to be re-signed and stuff, I think, this offseason, if I remember right. Or maybe it's next offseason. And then the goaltending really fell apart in that Cup Finals. Maybe I should have went for Mathers for the next game again, but the goaltending fell apart completely in that Cup Finals. Damn. I do actually want to look quickly here at Stelwitz and Ristolainen and also Norena's last few games of their careers potentially on this game log. So you can see, though, the last few rounds, though, against like the Seattle Kraken and all that, Stelwitz completely found his game near the end of his career. Like, in that round, he had points in every single game. Then to start off the Cup Finals, he had points in 3 straight games, had 1 game with no points. And then Game 5, he had 3 points to end off potentially his career. So, fantastic way to end it off. If he does retire, he was a GOAT. We'll take a look at his career numbers, probably if he does retire. Kolar's we don't need to necessarily take a look at yet because he's not going to retire. But Ristolainen, let's go to his game logs. You could see that he was not as good probably as of late. He did have a couple 2 assist games in the Cup Finals, but definitely slowed down on the goal scoring department, more of a passer at the end of it. And then from a defensive standpoint, Norena, I don't know if he did too much in that Cup Finals. He had a couple points. Not too bad. But yeah, his plus-minus was kind of bad near the end of it, but he is an offensive defenseman, so it kind of makes sense. Alright, so the question I have now is, are those guys going to retire and all that? What awards are we going to win this season? Because we are going to have awards. I think we are going to have another Vezina likely for Gionta. So Philadelphia wins the Stanley Cup. Colorado won the Calder Cup. Let's take a look at those individual awards, because I'm pretty sure we do have some individual awards, which is nice, but would have been nice to get a cup as well. So yeah, we win the President's Trophy at least for the second time in the last 3 years, which is nice. We lost in the Cup Finals, though, which kind of sucks. And in the individual awards, there's Stelwitz with an Art Ross trophy. Love to see it at the age of 37. He also wins the Hart. We also have Norris going to Bissonnette of the Jets. That's the 3rd time in the last 4 years for that guy. So we eliminated him from the playoffs, but that guy's a machine. Tyrell for Utah wins Lady Byng. Shing wins the Calder for Florida. Dawes wins the Conn Smythe for the Flyers, which is still kind of a weird one in my opinion. And then in terms of the Vezina Trophy, Gionta was won 3 Vezina Trophies in the last 5 years, so Gionta's been on a heater as of late. Didn't have a good Cup Finals, but he will be back again for one more year as a starter next season. And then we'll have to make a decision between him and Malkin. So shout out to Giunta. He also wins a Jennings Trophy for the third time in the last 4 years, which is also great. Gorchinski, the Masterton. Toronto's coach wins the Jack Adams. Mendes for Edmonton wins the Selke. Staubitz wins the Lindsay as well this season, and Staubitz wins the Richard. So Staubitz cleaning up on awards for us, which is really nice to see. We'll obviously take a look at his award cabinet in a little bit, probably if he does retire for sure, though. But we'll definitely take a look at it if he doesn't retire, which we'll find out that next, and potentially after the draft lottery results and all that stuff. Oh boy, I don't want to get to this stage because I don't want to really find out if those guys retire or not, but we have to do it. I mean, it's been a really good year for Staubitz, so it would really suck if he decides to retire, but I understand if he does decide to retire too, because this team's going to kind of get worse and worse as time goes on, I feel like. But Buffalo ends up winning the draft lottery, followed by Vegas, New York, Vancouver, and St. Louis. All right. So now we have to find out those retirements. Did we lose any players after that Cup Finals loss, or is Staubitz, Ristolainen, and Arena going to play longer? Staubitz did retire, oh boy, and I don't see Ristolainen there, which is good, but Staubitz is the first one to retire. Oh my goodness, oh no, this isn't good. Let's go to goalies first, take it a bit slower, but Staubitz is going to retire. Jeez, after 128 points in that playoff run, he definitely still has more in the tank, but goddamn, man. So in terms of goaltenders, there's nobody that used to play with us, so that's okay. Defensively, any former players? Or did Narena? No, Narena didn't retire either. So literally Staubitz retires before Narena even. That's kind of surprising to me that Risto hasn't retired though, because Risto's dropped off a lot more. So, but that means Risto's signed for next year, which is good. But we do lose our captain and our thumbnail athlete, which means I guess Ristolainen's going to be on the cover of the thumbnail next season. God damn, man. Any other former players, though, that used to play with us? Did I want to look at their careers? That's not our Hutton. That's a different one because that guy's a lot older. Oh, boy. Stanley Bates. I forgot about him. He actually played for Vegas at the end of it. And he actually played some NHL games recently. So shout out to Stanley Bates because he played a little bit with us early on. And then he left us, signed some AHL contracts, eventually went on to play 17 games in Calgary in the NHL. And then eventually got to play 2 more games with Vegas just this season. Kind of surprised. Looks like he had some good AHL playoffs as well. So shout out to Stanley. Almost forgot about him. Former 3rd-round pick of ours. So shout out to him. Any other former guys that I completely forgot about? It doesn't look like it on defense, really. Nope. Right wing perspective, there's Staubitz. We'll come back to the right wingers in a bit because it's kind of insane about Staubitz still. But Connor Bedard's the best center to retire. Logan Cooley up there. Not really surprised on some of these guys that they're up there. Oh boy, Jameson Bogosian retired this season as well at the age of 36. Obviously, we haven't had him in a few years, but Bogo was great here early on. Then eventually he kind of dipped off a little bit, and we had to get rid of him as well. But Carolina, Calgary afterwards. Looks like he was like a healthy scratch near the end of his career at times, which is a little bit wearisome, but got some playing time in Columbus, had some really good passing seasons. Really solid player, 780 career points, 36 points in the playoffs, but barely played in the playoffs after that Calgary run that he had. Damn. I think he won a cup there, though. Yeah, he did win a cup there, so that's good to see at least. Anybody else that used to play with us, out of curiosity? Just because it's always fun looking for those former players. I think this is our former Tulipov, right? We had a forward. Yeah, we had a forward Tulipov. I thought so as well. Nikita. After leaving us, he never signed anywhere else. Solid AHLer. Okay, bottom 6 guy, but yeah, not the most insane player in the world. Shout out to him. I don't think he was on our cup-winning roster, right? No, he wasn't. Anybody else? Jorgen Ahin. That name sounds familiar. Oh, it was ours, too. This guy never played. He only played 5 games in the NHL. More of a career AHLer. But I almost completely forgot about this guy, too. So that's why his name sounded familiar. Okay. So shout out to Ahinen, even though he wasn't really that great of a player. From a left-wing perspective, anybody that used to play with us? Or somebody that might have cracked our lineup briefly? Nope. Okay, well, now we have the chance to say goodbye to Staubitz. And this one, I don't understand why he retired, but I kind of do because he's 37 years old. But at the same time, this guy had just a crazy end to his career. Like, he's probably one of the guys that I least expected to retire. I expected Risto and Narena to go before him. But Staubitz goes out on 128 points in his last season and 73 goals. Crazy. 1,609 points in 1,543 games. I honestly think this guy could have played a lot longer, but what a career he had. A lot of 100-point seasons. But his best year of his career was literally his last NHL season, which is pretty insane. And like I said, early in his career, he was a 14 to 20 goal guy. Eventually started scoring 30 goals, and then he started to take off in 2037. So, somewhat recently. And he's been a consistent 50, 60 goal guy since then. 170 goal season, which is insane, but wow. And then from his playoff perspective, over point per game in the playoffs in his career as well. 156 points in 146 playoff games. This guy was literally the heartbeat of this team, so I wonder how our team's going to respond losing him. Obviously, Dunham is going to go to the top line to basically fill in that spot where he was. I don't want to say replace him, but it does suck a lot to lose somebody like Staubitz quite a bit. Damn, man. That's crazy. What about his preseason numbers for fun? 170 points, 152 games. Jesus. And as we said in his last NHL game, he had 3 points. He was the machine near the end of the playoff run. And his split stats, I mean, I could just go through this just in case you guys want to see this for his last NHL season. In case you guys want to bring up anything of note. But, man, that sucks. This really does. This hurts more than the actual loss in the Cup Finals, I'd say. Because he should probably be back for another season. And we should have lost somebody like Risto instead. But Risto at least will captain this team probably next season. That's likely what's going to end up happening. But let's take a look at those final awards in his career. Actually, here's his attributes in case you guys want to remake him in games, for instance. I don't know. But there's his stats at the end of his career. And his X factors and all that stuff. But let's take a look at those awards in his cabinet. Boom. What a career for Josiah Staubitz. The 1 Stanley Cup, the Conn Smythe the year we won that Stanley Cup. 2 Hart trophies, 2 Lindsays, 2 Art Rosses, and 3 Maurice Richards. He just did everything, like I said, for his team. And we salute to our captain. Goddamn. Salute to him, guys. Boom. All right, let's see if there's anybody else. But that is quite a tough loss, man. Quite a tough loss. Like I said, I didn't expect him. I expected somebody else, but damn. And that is it. So he ends up going out as the second best player in this retirement class, only behind Connor Bedard, who we had some good matchups against in this postseasons and stuff like that. Logan Cooley also being a good player that we've gone up against a couple times, I think. But wow, that is crazy. At least he was over a point per game in his career and stuff like that. But man, that really sucks. 4th overall pick back in our first year. Shout out to our first ever selection as he retires. Well, that one sucks. That one sucks a lot. I was really hoping he'd last a little bit longer, but damn. Damn. That's all I have to say about that. We also do lose a Finnish scout, so that scout that probably found us Ristolainen maybe decides to retire. That could have been that scout that found Risto. I'm not too sure. Let's go continue simulating. Let's take a look at some progress reports in the draft class and all that stuff. Wrap up this part, but I can't even think straight after that retirement. That's a huge blow. But in terms of our contract situation, in terms of all expiring, Cashman's the big UFA. We do have Hutton, who still has RFA rights, which is nice. Narena is also a pending UFA. I do want to have Narena retire with this team. He still maybe wants a good chunk of money, but we should be able to get him back. Comrie's a pending UFA. Ackerson's UFA. There's a lot of UFAs, actually, to be honest, but we should be able to afford most players because we just lost Staubitz. Malkin is a pending RFA. We will probably just qualify him. I honestly could hold on to Mathers still as an AHL goalie. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, that's basically all of that. In terms of progress reports, And we'll look at the draft class. Progress reports. Where is it? Oh, yeah, right here. Any crazy drop-off? Looks like we're going to get a little bit of drop-off. Yeah, Risto is probably going to drop off. It says 87, but he's an exact top 9. A lot of natural drop-off. Some statistical growth, so he's probably like an 81 overall or something instead, because we did see he was an 83 in the playoffs. He's dropping off. Kolar's probably would be getting drop-off soon, but looks like it's only to his speed. Aside from that, we're getting some growth, which is good to see. Narena, looks like he might be on some statistical too. Yeah, a little bit of drop off to his speed too. Damn, man. Damn. All right, in the system, what do we got? Looks like some growth from guys like Doughty, which is nice to see. Like, at least we're getting some growth in the system, but this team is definitely going to lose a good chunk of its offense without Staubitz too, so I don't know how good this team is going to look next season. I'm excited to see what Dunham does on the top line, but our center depth is going to get weaker and weaker too. That's kind of crazy, man. Wow. All right, so there is all that. I actually do want to go quickly to Gionta. Can I look at his awards from this screen? No, I can't, because I do want to see his multiple Vezina trophies and stuff, because he's been, like I said, a really good goaltender at times. Obviously wasn't great in that finals, but damn, man. If only we could have found a way to win a Stanley Cup and send Staubitz out on another Stanley Cup win. Let me just see Gionta's awards now in his cabinet, just for fun. Look at his cabinet now as a goaltender. This might be like the best goalie, like I said, I've had in terms of awards in quite some time. Goddamn. All right. Final thing we got to take a look at is this draft class. Obviously, we're not going to have a good selection in this year's draft, so hopefully we can find ourselves maybe a random steal here. We will be drafting 32nd. Yeah, 32nd. So let's see if there's any steals we could potentially get. Obviously, we're at this point where some of these players won't even play in franchise mode, but we might as well still take a look if there's anybody we could pick up for sure next episode. Doesn't look like it's going to be the strongest first round because there's some medium 9s potentially supposed to go. Yeah, this doesn't look like a great draft class. There's a low elite left wing two-way forward. I mean, that's probably what I'd take. Isaac Dingle, kind of a cool name. We'll probably pin him, and he probably could be our selection since he's a guaranteed low elite. I don't know if there's any other guaranteed low elites or anything. Let's see. Medium elite goalie in Bergfors. Sure, I'll pin him even though he's 20 years old. Any low elites, though? There's another gem in Hartman. Yeah, he doesn't look very good at this stage. Any low elites? Let's see. Other than that guy we pinned? No, there's no guarantees other than the guy we pinned. All right. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to be a strong draft class either. So the offseason is going to be quite boring in that sense. Is there anything else I need to take a look at? Is there anything else? I know I already looked at this contract situation, but yeah, Ristolainen is going to be probably a little bit overpaid because he's almost making... Actually, he's making 10, 11 million. That's not too bad. But still, he's going to get a lot of money, even though he's going to be a pretty low overall. But what is this guy going to honestly do without his boy Staubitz? Like, he's already been on the decline a little bit, so I'm kind of curious on what Ristolainen is going to be up to this upcoming season. He's been also very, very good in this franchise mode, of course. But he's going to get to play longer. Like, 6 Selke trophies is insane. And also, he's won, like, Hearts and all that, too, so... Oh, my goodness. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft Glory franchise mode. So, next episode, we'll take it to another off-season. I honestly don't know how good this team's going to be next year. Obviously, the thing is we want to try and re-sign as much people as possible. Like, Cashman should come back because, obviously, Risto's going to be kind of a low-end first-line forward. But, obviously, losing our main man in Staubitz, I think that's going to be a big blow to the offense. Maybe even the defensive play on the team because Staubitz was kind of a leader in all areas. But will be interesting to see what this team's like in its next phase, in a sense. Like I said, we only have a few more years left of this anyways, so... I don't expect our team to necessarily have another chance to win a Stanley Cup, but if we do, so be it. If we end up just having some good season sims and seeing more good results from our players, that's also fun. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.